Super Rugby 2024, folks, is just around the corner. The squads for round number 1 are out. We're going to go through the kind of ins and outs of each of the teams. Some stats. 3 games on the Friday, 3 games on the Saturday. Let's get into it. The Chiefs and the Crusaders. That's a rematch of last year's final. That's the opening game. What a way to open the competition. Pretty tasty. You've got a bunch of guys who are going to want to impress new All Blacks coach Scott Robertson. I mean, Xavier Rowe gets the nod ahead of Cortez Ratama at 9. That's going to be a key position all year, but both those guys really look the business and have a lot of potential. And then at the other end of the experience scale, Damien McKenzie there at 10, top point scorer from Super Rugby last year, looking to maybe kind of answer that question at 10 for the All Blacks, but needs to do it at Chiefs level. Chiefs have been in Japan. They played a preseason game against the Blues. But this is where it really kind of gets down to business. Sean Stevenson, 12 tries last year. We'll be looking to kind of recapture some of that 2023 form as well. He is at fullback for the Crusaders. George Bauer's back. He's at loosehead prop. That's good news because he spent a lot of time injured last year. Rob Penny has chucked him straight in at loosehead. George Bell had a bit of a meteoric rise last year as well. Made the All Blacks 15. I think it's his first Super Rugby start. So it's, as I said, a very quick rise from George Bell. Still relatively young man, but with Cody Taylor on sabbatical, he's going to get a good chance. Levi Aumua, one of the new signings for the Crusaders, was in cracking Form 1 Pacifica last year. One of the top guys for breaking tackles for a team that wasn't doing that good. You imagine what he can do with the Crusaders. Steve Reese is back. And then Che Fihaki, he's going to get a bit of chance at fullback because Will Jordan's out for the season. And Lee Halfpenny, the international kind of Welsh signing, he's got a pretty long-term injury as well. So that's a chance for Fihaki to impress, basically. So Ryan Crotty is also there. Kind of good to see one of the old stalwarts back after hanging up the boots, but he's back. Going to be a tasty one. It's a match of last year's finalists. That's pretty much must-watch viewing for mine. And then followed up by the first of the Aussie games, Rebels up against Brumbies. Now, that's a bit of a good news story in that tickets are now on sale for that one because there was a while with the off-field stuff that the Rebels maybe weren't going to be able to get tickets sold, but they've sorted out the off-field stuff. The paperwork's done, so you can get tickets for that one. The Rebels have got Rob Leota captaining the side at number 8 this week. You got Jack Maunder, who's a former Exeter Chief English international, briefly, but he's there at number 9, so it's his first Super Rugby game. Lukan Salakaia-Loto is back from overseas, so he's a great addition to that kind of second row with the Rebels losing the likes of Matt Phillip overseas and Taniela Tupou, their big signing, both I would imagine in terms of his paycheck and in terms of his physical size. He is there on the bench for the Brumbies. Pretty consistent side, eh? They haven't had a kind of whole sweeping change like we've seen from some of the other sides in Super Rugby. Rob Valentini, John Eales medalist for 2023. Ryan Lonergan, the halfback captain's the side at 9. Corey Toole, the pace man, he's back fit after missing part of the season last year on the right wing. Tom Wright had more run beaters than anybody in Super Rugby Pacific last year. No Alatoa just yet, still making his way back with a wee bit of rehab. And then the final game of the Friday games is a Trans-Tasman affair with the Force taking on the Canes. That was a humdinger last year in Palmerston North. It was something like 45-43. The Force made a comeback. It was a kind of consolation comeback, and it finishes with a losing bonus point, but heck of a big scoreline last season. And the Force have made some good signings. You got Nick White come over from the Brumbies. You got Ben Donaldson come over. Tom Franklin will be a familiar one to many New Zealand Super Rugby fans. And then winger, who's a bit of a journeyman at this point, Harry Potter, who gets called Magic more often than I'm sure he would appreciate, as they're on the right wing. So, plus Ben Fennell, they've certainly added to their stocks in the Force. For the Hurricanes, new coach Clark Laidlaw has named a hell of a bench, man. I mean, we probably should start with the starting 15. Billy Proctor gets his 50th cap. Big congratulations to him at 13. Jordi Fillion, under 20 star, and gets a crack first Super Rugby start at number 9 alongside Brett Cameron at 10. So really strong starting lineup. No Brad Shields, he's injured unfortunately. He's captain, but Geordie Barrett and Aumua will captain the side, kind of co-captaining in his stead. But then the bench, they can bring on Braden Yosse, who's a hell of a ball carrier. They can bring on Cam Roigard, likewise. That's why he got into the All Blacks. And then Salesi Rayasi. Very, very tasty bench for the Canes. Yeah, very curious to see how this new look four side go, and this side under Laidlaw to see how they go for the Canes. For the Saturday games, it's Blues up against the Drua, not from Eden Park though. Early kickoff, 4:35, up in Whangarei. And Blues looking all right pre-season wise. I won't spoil the result, but they played the Chiefs in pre-season. That game's on NZR Plus. If you want to check it out, down in the description. They've also got the Moana Pacifica and Hurricanes preseason game highlights, full game, and a bunch of other content as well. But yeah, Blues have got a pretty strong looking side. Stephen Petafeta gets a crack at 10. That is pleasing. No Bodie. He's obviously in Japan. So Stephen Petafeta gets a bit of kind of extra pressure, bit of extra opportunity. Caleb Clark's looking lean. He's lost about 7 kgs. He's there on the left wing. Dalton Papali'i captains the side at 7. And Angus Ta'avao, back in Blues country, gets his 50th Blues appearance at tight head. Cole Forbes back from Europe. He is on the bench for his potential Blues debut. Obviously, Paddy Tuipulotu unfortunately is injured, so we'll miss this one. For the Drua, they've got a few of those Fijian internationals which impressed at the World Cup. The likes of Ikanaveri, the hooker, very dangerous from close range. Nasila Sila, one of the top line-out men in Super Rugby last year, will be looking to secure their ball on their own throw. Darren Lange captains the side at number 8. And then a lot of pressure on the youngster Isaiah Armstrong Ravula, 20-year-old Fijian under-20s international, played for Manawatu. He's going to be playing at number 10 in his Super Rugby debut. So, yeah, a bit of a difference in terms of experience, but certainly an exciting prospect to pull the strings. And then a couple of other guys. You got Apili Momo back from France on the right wing, and Isekeli Rabitu, the 19-year-old, Super Rugby debut for him at fullback as well. A lot of potential in this Fijian and Drua side. How well they can kind of quickly gel together with those changes will remain to be seen, but the core of the squad is still there from last year. Forsyth Bar will see the Highlanders taking on Moana Pacifica. A lot to like about the Highlanders preseason. Jamie Joseph obviously back with them now as Director of Rugby. You got Paripari Parkinson back fit. Please let him stay fit for the entire season. He's like 140 kilos, 205 centimeters tall. Heck of potential, but he's been injury plagued throughout his career. But fingers crossed. Henry Bell had a bit of experience over in the MLR over in the States. He's the starting hooker for this one. Billy Harmon captain's side at 7. Timothy Tavatava Nawai, one of the standout players for his former side, Moana Pacifica last year. He lines up for the Highlanders on the right wing. Absolute unit with defenders beaten last year. And then Welsh international, Rhys Patchell there at number 10. If you never saw much of him in Wales, really attacking-minded, ball-carrying 10. So not maybe the stereotypical what we think of Northern Hemisphere 10s. Really, really attacking-minded and has looked good in preseason as well. Moana Pacifica, some excitement in Sama Malolo, the hooker for Samoa, and also MLR connection for him as well. Played for a couple of sides over there in the States. James Lay is captain the side at loosehead for the Moana Pacifica boys this year. Julian Savea, having moved to Moana Pacifica, is not on the wing. He is in the midfield. Played a fair bit of midfield for Toulon when he was over in France, so we'll see how he goes. And a few new caps in terms of Moana Pacifica-wise on the bench. Alan Craig, played for Northland and NPC. Jacob Norris, Māori All Black. Aisa Holo, the scrum half, 30 years old. Super Rugby debut for him. So, yeah, a bit of a mixed bag for Moana Pacifica. They'll be underdogs for sure, but hey, man, less pressure on them. And then the final game is the kind of traditional Aussie rivalry, Queensland, New South Wales. Reds taking on the Tars. Tars preseason has not been great, but they got some big gun players. And the Reds with Les Kiss now in charge, that Brad Thorne has kind of left his position. Tate McDermott co-captains the side alongside Liam Wright. Tom Liner, a bit of pressure on him. It's only like his 6th start at number 10 for the Reds. But I mean, some big gun Wallabies players in that lineup, the likes of Pitaya, Vunivalu, former Bluesman Alex Hodgman there at loosehead prop. And for the Waratahs, I mentioned they got some big guns, man. I mean, Jed Holloway, top line-out man in Super Rugby last year. He's there in the second row. But they've got this other guy, Miles Amatosero, back from France, 6'8", 125 kilos, and only 21 years old. He's been playing in France since he was 18 for Clermont. So big unit of a man. I'm keen to see how he goes. Fergus Lee Warner, the absolute work rate machine, is back in the back row for them. He's one of those kind of stats dreams where he just does so much work around the park but never quite made the Wallabies. Maybe that kind of awkward size, not big enough to be international lock, not fast enough to be an international loose forward. Not sure, but I'm really pleased that he's there. And then Max Jorgensen, who missed the World Cup with injury, is there on the bench. He's been coming back from injury. So, yeah, folks, Super Rugby just around the corner. Those are your lineups. How do you reckon the teams are going to go? As I said, NZR Plus for some of the preseason stuff, player interviews and whatnot. Check them out. Yeah, you guys take care and enjoy the Super Rugby season. Talk to you again soon.